Welcome back, everybody. Brad from Brilliance. I'm glad you're back. So thanks for joining me. So the last couple of days, we have been talking about chance, choice, and today is change. So chance, choice, and change. So a couple of years have passed, and a couple of things happened in that time frame. As always, there's a multitude of things going on in anybody's life. So during that time, the last story, my son was born. Definitely, there were some instant changes there. I began to realize that things were not just about me. Things, that whole thing just began to be at the beginning of change for the better. I also got to see the empathy from Jen and her friends as well. I mean, and I was always just scaling up and just reaching and digging down and trying everything that I could to tap into that passion I had about being just get to the top of whatever I did. I always had that desire to persist, that deep burning desire to pursue excellence. And the time frame between choice and change is all relative. It's like a seed that has to germinate. It really depends on your commitment level. It depends on whether you just subscribe to something, or if you enlist in something, or if you truly commit to an idea. It comes from the culmination of many events. I mean, we repeat our lessons until they're learned. That's a simple fact of the matter. And so we have these events that occur throughout our lives. And it's the culmination of those events that really show us who we are. It's the correlation of those events. I mean, it took me 4 years of hardcore learning before I really started to commit to that change point. I mean, it really came. It was tough. I mean, I had the thing that happened in Spain, and then Shane was born, and then that exposure to Jen, and then I had been scaling up, and I was in Louisville at the time, and I was struggling. Frustration is an indicator of change, so I recognize that. There's many indicators of change. There's the wind in the weather is an indicator of change. When it goes from warmer to colder, you get wind, or rain, you get wind. When you're doing kayaking in the whitewater rapids, you have indicators of change. There's patterns that you can read. There's all kinds of indicators of change. Pain is an indicator of change. It's telling you something's wrong. Frustration is the same thing. It's an inflection point. It's just indicating to you that something needs to change. And it depends on, how many times we experience that before we actually begin to change. And I overlooked that for way too long. So I was getting to that point, and I was introduced to this gentleman named Conway Stone. And he was kind enough to take me to a group of older gentlemen who used to meet, and they had been meeting in the same place for 25 years. And the reason why my friend introduced me to Conway is she knew that Conway could put me in touch with some people, but I was having trouble making friends, quite frankly. And given my circumstances of manipulation and everything else, even though I had made the choice, I still hadn't really made that full commitment yet, and so I was still struggling. And I mean, it's easy to realize now that I've had that breakthrough for many, many years, but at that time, I was immersed in a situation I didn't understand. I was just frustrated. I knew something was wrong. So I began to open up and ask for help to the few people that I knew that maybe could help. So Conway was kind enough to take me. He invited me to this group. These guys were amazing. They were all, former CEOs or, experts in their business. They'd been meeting in the same place for like 20, 25 years. And they were amazing. But what impressed me was the same thing that had impressed me with Jen and her friends. I began to see these patterns of people who were collaborating and they were cooperating. And I knew that that was missing. So, I had already made that choice. Now I was actually starting to make the change. And, in order to make that change, we have to really desire a breakthrough. We have to ask for help. And that was an amazing point. So, I desired breakthrough for myself, and I desire to see all people shine. I mean, to soak up brilliance and to have brilliance reflect back on the world is a beautiful thing. To illuminate within and outside oneself. It's beautiful. Sure. So when you get to the point, it looks overwhelming. I mean, there's all this technical jargon. It's like the stuff that coaches and mentors know. But we don't need to know all that. When you're ready to deal with coaches, then do it. But don't sweat it until then. Just take a step in that direction. I mean, we can talk about the unconscious competence, incompetence, and the conscious competence, and the conscious competence, and the unconscious competence. I mean, not necessarily in that order. I'm just throwing them out there. It's just jargon. I mean, there's the knowing doing gap. There's all this stuff, but I thought that I had to know all this, and we don't. We don't have to know it all. We just have to take a step in the right direction. I mean, yes, does it take grit? It does. Change takes grit. It takes perseverance. You have to want it. You have to have skin in the game. You have to really commit to it if you're going to make a big change in your life. If you want to be excellent, if you want to be brilliant, if you want to be above complacency, if you want to be better than average, then you have to commit. And it takes work, and it takes incremental work. It takes deliberate practice. I mean, taking that step requires leadership. It requires character and courage. But there's this misconception that it requires perfection. And that's the point at which I got stuck for so long. I just had a meeting with a friend of mine, Rich. He has an uncanny ability, a true strength with music. He could tell you, he'll pull out a record and tell you what's on the backside of the record and tell you what year. I mean, he has these knowledge and details for this. It's such a strength, but yet he hasn't done anything with it. He's had this dream to either do a podcast or do something with it, but he, like me, had the same fear. That's what it is. It's fear that we have to know everything. It has to be perfect. And quite frankly, that's what this is about. My videos have not been perfect. But my message will hit somebody. It will hit somebody at the right time. And so I've gotten over that fear. It doesn't have to be perfect. Am I going to make mistakes? I absolutely am. But I'm not fearful of that anymore. And that's what I want to ignite in you. I want to encourage you to just take a step toward your dream. It just takes a simple step. So Rich has committed that 2 weeks from today, he'll do something with that. He's going to do it just one step. He's going to try one and just see how it works out and build from there. I had another friend that had a similar experience the day before yesterday. She's also committed to a date. I mean, just commit to a date. Work with a friend. Call a coach. Call a mentor. It doesn't matter. Commit to a date and take a step. Just do it for yourself. Write it down. I just want to encourage that, in you. There are people who are willing to lead the way. I mean, real people People who make themselves people, it doesn't have to be perfect. You just fix it along the way. You're flexible. This is what it is to be human. This is what it means to take a journey. This is what people want. They want to experience not perfection. Perfection is for, when you write your goals down, you want to make them perfect. It's for vision. Perfection is for paper. Flexibility is for reality. If you've ever been stuck or indecisive or lacking inspiration, or if you feel that way now, try reframing the situation if that's what you need. Try to ignite just an unexpected solution. Creative desperation, it's called. But just try something. But keep working, keep striving, keep leading in, keep scaling up, keep vision in the forefront, and take a step. Just take one step. This is how dreams are realized. If you're trying to get there, don't stop believing. Keep that belief. Don't lose it. Don't waste time like I did. Years upon years I lost just because I didn't believe in myself. I thought it wasn't possible. And that's just simply not the case. We just need to put one foot in the door. If you want to take your business to new heights, if you're serious about making a change in your life or a change in business, reach out to me, reach out to someone else. Send an email. We'll have a conversation. You want to create a larger impact in your life and you want to move to the next level, reach out to someone. But take that step. Doing it by yourself is one way, but it's the long way. It doesn't matter, what step you make. You might vacillate back and forth. You might make a mistake, but it doesn't matter. That will ignite you in a way that you haven't been ignited before, and it'll bring new ideas. It was Ronald Reagan that said, the future doesn't belong to the faint-hearted. It belongs to the brave. Be courageous and be brave. Do it today. Take a step into your future. This is Build Brilliance, and I'm Brad. Thanks for joining me.